Have you ever sat down ready to create content for your business only to hit a wall? Well, you're not alone. One of the biggest frustrations for every entrepreneur and business owner is running out of content ideas. But here's the truth. The problem isn't a lack of ideas, because you're all very creative. It's a lack of systems and strategies to uncover them. By the end of this conversation, you'll not only have a treasure trove of actionable strategies to generate endless content ideas, but also the confidence to implement them in your business. We'll dive into how to understand your audience, leverage their pain points, and even how to be your content to build social proof and authority. Let's get into it. Today, we're specifically talking about how businesses and entrepreneurs can never run out of ideas. And I don't know about you, but I've been there. I've been at a point where, I'm staring at my phone. I'm like, what do I make this video about? Or I'm trying to figure out what to type into GPT to get a list of content ideas. And again, content is king, but context matters a little bit more. Context is what puts the crown on that king. And so we're going to talk through a few talking points, a few just thought processes that I want to encourage you as a business owner and entrepreneur to be thinking about when it comes time to creating content or creating some form of awareness online. Let me take a sip of my tea here. Here's the first key point. The first point is understanding your target audience. Now, I know, kind of a no-brainer, right? Like, you got to know what you're talking about and who you're talking to, but oftentimes I come across entrepreneurs who don't really have a solid idea, or they go by their preferences. And I got to tell you, that's a big mistake. You don't want to market to yourself, right? You want to market to the best possible person that's going to receive what it is you have to offer. And so part of understanding your audience and your target audience is getting a solid idea of what their pain points are, of what their values are, what their attitudes are, and what their lifestyles are, right? We call that the VALS, right? Values, attitudes, and lifestyles. And honestly, if you just watch any commercial online, you'll see really good examples of this. Just today I was watching a commercial on Cheerios, and honestly, back in the day when I was a kid, the Cheerios commercials I would see on the kids network would be the bee. I don't know if he had a name. I can't remember. I'm revealing my age here, but the little bee was in all of the commercials, and he was great. He would fly around and fly through the little O's, and it would be very captivating. Obviously, as a young mind, that's something that's captivating to you. And then a few years later, they started marketing how Cheerios is good for your heart health and all of these things. And literally just the other day, I'm a dad now, I'm married, I got kids, just the other day, I'm watching TV. I see a Cheerios commercial, and it's literally, the scene is a family at breakfast, and it's like they're hanging out and they're playing in the kitchen, and one of the kids drops a box of cereal of Cheerios, and it spreads all over the countertop, and it's like this brand understands their target audience, so they're gonna create this content, this commercial that really goes after the values, the attitudes, and the lifestyle of their brand. And if you're somebody like me who's grown up seeing Cheerios brands now on this side of life with kids and a family, that commercial really connects to you. And I may not buy Cheerios when I go to the store, but I definitely feel a feeling when I'm walking down the aisle and I see Cheerios, right? And so that's an example. That's kind of like a high level example. Obviously, they have endless budget, right? We're all the small folks, but that's kind of like a high level framework of how the VALs work towards really understanding and targeting your audience exactly where they are. You'll get really good at this, and you'll hear things like, "Man, you were really talking to me when you did that reel," or "Wow, when you said that thing on Facebook, I really connected to it because I felt like you were talking to me." See, when you start hearing that from your target audience, from the people who consume your content, that's how you know you have a strong understanding of their values. or their VALS, their values, attitudes, and lifestyles. And so there's a list about 8 VALS, I guess you can say categories. You have innovators, you have thinkers, you have strivers, you have makers, achievers, experiencers, and survivors, um, or makers. I guess that the two are the same. And so, the innovators, they focus on sophistication, exclusivity, cutting edge ideas. It's kind of hard to think about this on a use case basis, but if you're thinking high level marketing, I would say these are your tech companies, your groundbreaking companies, and even some home based companies. Companies that source goods from unconventional places, removing the middleman, removing the bad things in our products. Or maybe it's a detergent company or Honest Brand. My wife loves Honest Brand, so like that's kind of an innovative company, right? It's the same product. It's soap. It's soap for your hands. It's soap for your showers or whatnot. But their market angle is, we're going to cater to the people who actually care about what's in the product they're putting in and on their body. So we're gonna not only make products that solve that problem, but we're gonna market towards that group of people and thereby create content that speaks to that person. So to drive a horse home, you need to understand your target audience. And so, how does this work for you? Let's say you are a business coach and you're trying to target achievers, right? Because you're like, okay, I want to target the people who want to accomplish something great. And so your content might focus around management hacks for busy professionals, right? Or how to balance career, family, and family without burning out. For experiencers, if you're that same business coach and you want to say target experiencers, you might create a guide to building a side hustle while traveling the world. That sounds like very clickable um, title there. But again, the bigger picture with this is understanding the vowels of your audience allows you to create content that really resonates and speaks to them on a deeper level. You build trust, you build engagement, and you build loyalty. It really helps you to stand out. You will stand out of the person that skipped this step and just posted a random reel for the day. Now, later on, we're going to talk about being consistent and content pillars. Actually, that's the next bullet point there, content pillars. But yeah, this is just to get you in the vein, in the mind of the person you're marketing to. So VALs, values, attitudes, and lifestyles. And so let's say you're trying to figure out, how do I get this information? How do I find out what the vowels are of my target audience? Well, I'm happy you asked. That's it. You just ask them. It's so easy to do like a social media poll or even ask a bunch of your friends, like throw all your friends that know what you do in a group chat and say, hey guys, what are some of your challenges with XYZ? And what's going to happen is, you're obviously, these are your friends, so I'm assuming their lifestyle, but you're going to see their pain points, and that should get the gears rolling on how you can combine what you do, what you have to offer, with solving their problem through the lens of their lifestyle, values, and attitudes. I hope that makes sense. The next point, if we take vowels as the ground floor, the foundation to this pyramid, if you will, the next level is understanding and leveraging the power of content pillars. Okay, so Jean-Marc, what's a content pillar? Well, I'm happy you asked. A content pillar is essentially the core themes that your brand revolves around. And these things are kind of like putting together, baking a cake or putting an outfit together, right? Essentially, there's a lot of types of content pillars, but they usually fall into 4 categories. It's promotional, educational, inspirational, and entertaining. These are essentially the main themes that your content's going to fall into. And here's why this is important, and here's where it has its place. Having these content pillars and essentially placing your content on these pillars allows you to take the almost I'd say 40% of the guesswork out of what type of content am I going to post, right? Because once you know who you're going to target and once you know the pain points you're going to solve, you can essentially put that on a chart in a list and then wrap it around these content pillars in different forms. And the content pillars just help align you with your business goals. So, for instance, let's say one of your business goals is brand awareness. I want people to know more about us. Well, there's a few pillars you can use to showcase and to showcase content on, pardon me, and use to grow your brand awareness. One of the main ones that you probably see all the time is educational. Maybe you're just starting out, you have no followers, you have no social media or anything. I would encourage you to do educational content that caters to the VALS of your target audience, or inspirational content that caters towards the VALS of your target audience. Because, right, you want them to know about you and what you can do. I mean, take for instance what we're doing now. Just launched the YouTube channel. I am creating content, educational content, to raise your brand awareness of what I offer as a business owner, right? So the content pillars just help you put your content in this, I guess you can say, these categories or these pillars, for lack of a better term, that align with your business goals, which thereby makes it easier for you to produce more of that content. I have a content calendar that I'm going to be going through with you, where I give you video after video of content like this that aims to help grow your awareness of my brand, but also educate you on steps that you can take now to help grow your brand. And what's that going to do? Well, hopefully, if you really like this content, and hit the like button and the bell and the bell icon so you don't miss one of these videos. But hopefully, as you continue to take some of this advice and take action with some of this knowledge, you'll notice the benefits, and your bottom line is also going to increase as well, thereby legitimizing me as an authority to you. You see how that works? You just want to do the same thing. You want maybe not exactly the same thing, because not everybody is teaching what I'm teaching, but you want to take that structure, that framework, that syntax, and apply it to what you're teaching, to the value that you're giving your audience. So, step 1, understand your target audience. Step 2, leverage your content pillars, okay? And again, with the content pillars, this is where you have the freedom to be creative, right? It's one thing to have no idea what you're going to do, but once you start pinning down, hey, this is the value of my target audience. Hey, maybe a lot of people don't know who we are, so let's do some educational content. Or we have a lot of business, but we don't have any testimonials, so let's show some before and afters. Like, it starts to get a little bit more creative, and so the juices start flowing, and you start being able to think through more easily the different types of content that you can produce as a business owner. So it gets easier the more and more you do this. So, I'll give you another example. We'll go back to the business coach example, because that one was pretty good. So let's say, again, you're a business coach and you're targeting achievers, right? So your content pillar might be, let's say this week, you know what, we're gonna do something educational. So we'll do productivity hacks. We'll do Monday product hacks, or Monday productivity hacks, or whatever. So every Monday for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever, you do educational content, and you teach your audience about time management and goal setting, how to do that with AI. Even that's untapped. Well, not anymore, but you get what I'm saying. Maybe you have success stories, inspire your clients to say, you know what, maybe you're a health coach, a private trainer, right? And you have crazy success stories with clients who've lost significant amounts of weight. You can leverage those stories and showcase and inspire your audience to discover you. And I tell you what, the more and more you do this, the more it's going to click, and it'll become a little bit more effortless, right? Um, Maybe you're a public speaker, or maybe you're again a business coach, and you wanna you wanna hire more clients to do speaking engagements. So for your next speaking engagement, hire a videographer to capture behind the scenes for you, and use that to show people social proof, like, I do this, like, I was just speaking at this event, here's the footage. Put some cool music behind it, and use that to promote and grow your brand. I hope this is starting to make a little bit of sense. We're kind of aligning the stars here, and building this pyramid almost of steps to think through content creation for a business owner. And so here's what I want to encourage you to do with this step. Just sit down and brainstorm 3 to 5 content pillars relevant to where you are in your business. Take a look, take a high level look at where you are, and say, you know what, we're going to focus on content that grows our brand awareness and inspires our audience. That way, you just created a beautiful sandbox to play in when it comes to content creation. And you can use tools. You can use tools like Trello to organize yourself. Or honestly, don't sleep on the native note app on your phone. Do not sleep on the notes app on your phone. Like, that app is valuable. You know what I mean? So yeah, be encouraged with that. You can totally do this. It can take you one afternoon to just kind of think through your brand and take some action steps to kind of build this little framework for creating content. Okay, let's move on to the next step.
Are you struggling to come up with content ideas, feeling overwhelmed by where to start? You're not alone. Most entrepreneurs waste time guessing what to post instead of following a clear strategy. That's why I created the Simple Content Creation Framework, an easy to follow process that helps you generate endless content ideas and build a strategy that works for your business. By the end of this framework, you'll have a personalized content plan that makes creating videos, posts, and articles effortless. No more staring at a blank screen, just a simple, repeatable system. If you're ready for it, grab the framework now. Click the link in the description and start creating content with confidence. Now let's get back to the conversation.
Okay, step 3 is repurposing existing content. Okay. And really, even if you don't have a strong online presence, but you've been in business for a while, like, let's say you're an older person. Shout out to my wisdom folks. Let's say you're let's say you're an older individual, and let's say you've been in business like you know well before the age of TikTok and Instagram, right? Um, Taking old footage um, and repurposing it is actually kind of in right now. Like, even if you're creating reaction content, right? Let's say I have a gentleman friend of mine. He's an older gentleman, very wise. He's worked with a lot of prominent business owners. His name is Tony Rusing. You should check him out. He's got a podcast. But even if someone like him were to do reaction type content to old videos, like show of show some footage from back in the day when you were talking, and then pause and talk about what you were talking about, and share stories like this, I would consider is in the pillar of education slash inspiration. But again, sometimes as an older person, you feel that gap of technology, and you feel like, I can't bridge the gap, or I don't know what to create to be able to raise my brand awareness, or stay relevant even in the conversation. And so yeah, repurposing existing or old content and putting a spin on it will bring you in the conversation, and will maintain you in the conversation. And I would go as far as to say the advantage you have over everyone else is their building. You've already been established. You may not be in the conversation, but that's just a 3 to 6 month process, and then you're irrelevant again, because the thing about knowledge is it never gets old. It builds on itself, right? It gets better, but it doesn't really regress. That's really the power. That's why they say knowledge is power, because it's one thing no one can ever take from you, but it's also something that you can constantly use and build upon. And taking advantage of old content and repurposing it helps you achieve that. Okay, we're getting a little higher in the pyramid. So this is kind of a little bit more selective. I don't think everyone needs to do these. These are all additional steps and parts of a framework that can help you create content more effectively. So you essentially never run out of content ideas. Pardon me there. Step 4, use trending topics. I'm going to quote Neil Patel. He said, "Trends are the pulse of your audience's interests." Sorry, I had to burp there. Trends are the pulse of your audience's interest. Trends are huge, and they come in many shapes and sizes. Right now, we're in a major AI trend. Right now, you can't throw a stone out your house without hitting an AI ad or someone talking or using AI. And so, if part to my last point about repurposing old content, sometimes you get so locked into your business, you don't really think about or think through um, what's happening in the world or what's happening with trends, right? Even now, some folks are just now learning about TikTok Shop and learning about DeepSeek and learning about all of what's trending right now. And so again, going back a few levels, this is all within the pillar and the vows of your client. And so major trends will permeate through all of the niches and all of the businesses like an AI. But minor trends like, like challenges that are happening online, like, the water challenge or any kind of social media challenge. I call those minor trends. They may have a place. Maybe you're a clothing brand, and you're really heavy into meme culture. You're making content or products that leverage meme culture. Then yeah, trend. I'd say trends are more than the pulse. They're the lifeblood of your brand in terms of creating content, and marketing towards the vows of your audience. However, if you are, let's say you're a regular company, like, or a regular business, like a business coach or a motivational speaker, or take your pick, there are seasonal trends that I think are worth paying attention to. So, for instance, every year people do New Year resolutions, right? So, let's say you're a business coach. We're going back to the business coach example, and let's say you're targeting achievers, so you're creating educational, inspirational content, right? And you want to be on trend. And let's say it's, a month before summer, or like I said, New Year's Eve. Maybe you want to create New Year's resolutions for entrepreneurs, and maybe tap in some of the most inspirational books or quotes that business owners and entrepreneurs can learn or be inspired by to help them achieve that. Or, you're a fitness coach and summer's coming up. You see where I'm going with this, right? So you can leverage the trends and the upcoming trends and the global trends and the seasonal trends, and take the trend, put it on the pillar, which is on the foundation of the vows, and use that mechanism to create content for your brand. You see where I'm going with this, right? You can take that piece of content, place it in the trend, put it on the pillar, which stands on the vowels of your target audience. And now what you have is a hyper focused content creation mechanism that specifically targets the people you want to consume your product. So by aligning your content with the trending topics, you stay top of mind, you stay relevant, you stay a part of the conversation, right? Even if it's not a lot of people consuming that content, the more and more consistent you are, the more they will come. It's almost like a field of dreams moment. If you build it, they will come. And so staying consistent and creating content that exists on a pillar and that's hyper focused and targeted will help you stay a part of the conversation. Let's go to bullet point number 5. Use AI. I bet you saw this one coming. it's amazing the technology that exists with artificial intelligence. And here's the thing, the technology is good. It's not crazy good. It's not 100%, you know, human replacing in certain things yet. I think there's always going to be a place for the human touch, for the human component. But what AI does is it allows you to free up time. So you can literally take everything that we talked about and create a tool using AI that will help you generate content for your target audience. And later on, as I do more and more of these videos, I will be sharing some of those tips and tools and tricks and things of those that nature. Um, but the bigger picture here is leveraging technology allows you to wear both the working in my business hat and the working on my business hat. So the gap is a little bit easier to manage. Eventually, you just want to work on your business and not be in it as much, right? You don't want to be the one recording and the one editing and the one posting forever, right? There's steps to this and there's a level, there's a progressive level to it where eventually you won't have to be invoicing. You'll have a finance person, and eventually you won't have to worry about anything else but other than, creating content towards your brand or managing the creation of content that grows your brand, right? And so use technology, use GPT, use Canva, use all of these tools that are readily available and relatively cheap, by the way, at your disposal, so that you can leverage what it gives you and get back time, right? And so, you can use AI to write a whole blog for you. Now, I wouldn't recommend that just yet. I still think there's value. I still think there's value in typing out and producing things in your voice. However, as the technology gets better, it's an inevitable reality. Um, we're still in an early adaptation phase with AI and cryptocurrency and all of that, but use it now to help you get back time, so you not only you can produce more content, right? Because obviously you want to spread the seeds, you want to sow the oats, you want it to spread, but to get back precious time that you wouldn't be able to get back otherwise. So use AI. Number 6, create a content idea bank. This one is huge. I know I mentioned earlier the Notes app on your phone. This one is huge. Using the Notes app is probably one of the best things you could do, because a lot of times, I mean, I'm speaking for myself here, but maybe you can relate to this. When you're driving, you get the best ideas, or when you're in the bathroom, oh, I'm sorry, when you're in the restroom, that's where you find rest. You get some really good ideas. And so we usually have our phones when we're driving, don't text and drive. And we usually most likely have our phones in the restroom. Don't ask anyone to borrow their phone. Sorry, that was funny. But you know, using content idea or creating a content idea bank, pardon me, is essential, right? It's essential to keeping the being in the moment of where you are and keeping the ship moving, right? You don't really want to be in a situation where you're starting and stopping when it comes to this. You want it to kind of flow. And so you could be in a business meeting and somebody says something that inspires you. Instead of just filing that away in your head, open your notes app, write it down, or hit the record button and record your meetings and just tell them, hey, I'm going to record our meeting just in case I say something and I don't want to forget it. Like, these things are so important and are so easy and available to us. We just oftentimes we don't really think about it. But the more and more you do this, again, it's all about creating this framework for creating content that makes it so effortless. And I guarantee you, you've probably had 4 conversations today that, if you really think about it, you're like, man, I should have recorded that. Or what was that thing I said again? We're all really, really skilled at at specific things that we've either worked really hard to achieve or gain, or things that really interest us. And so I would challenge you this week, if you're having a meeting, a sales meeting, a business meeting, or you're working with a client, or you're fulfilling you're fulfilling a task for a client, and you start having a conversation. Actually, I'll tell you a quick story. Part of what I do is audiobook production. I work with a publishing company called Two Penny Publishing, and essentially they send me authors who want to be on Audible, and my company produces their audiobook. We send them a microphone, record the whole thing for them. I tell my authors, all you have to do is capture your audio. I'll send you a video, walk you through the process, how to use the software, how to use the microphone. Make sure you're in a quiet space. Record your audio, send me the files, and my team will edit it down. We'll go back and forth. We'll proof listen, and once you get the green light, we upload to Audible or whichever um, library you prefer, and off to the races. And so I was talking to a client, getting some information from him, and he started talking about some really fascinating concepts, um, especially in the nonprofit space, and I recorded the conversation. I probably should have told him that I recorded the conversation. So because I didn't tell him, I don't want to say his name, but if you're watching this, I recorded our conversation. And yeah, I just hearing him talk about one, when you do that and you engage people, right? You know, I know earlier I talked about asking the right questions. When you ask really good questions, people open up and people want to share. And especially if it's something you worked hard for and something you value, if it's a part of your VALS, you're going to share it. And so I asked him a good question, and he just started pouring out and started giving me all of this information. And I captured it because I was like, I don't want to miss an opportunity if I say something really cool that I can use for content creation. And that's okay. That's not me being fake or him, or that's none of that. I wasn't trying to be any kind of way. It's just I want to be able to showcase to my target audience that I do this, that this is what I do, this is my expertise, this is what I'm good at, this is what I worked hard for, and this is what you can find value in what I bring. So, you know, definitely create a content idea bank, whether that's recording conversations, writing down quotes, using the voice memo or the notes app, using apps like Evernote and Google Docs, all of these tools. Use them, fill them up with ideas, develop your own idea bank, and I guarantee you will not run out of content ideas. And here's the last point. This one is probably the most important one, and it's one that I've mentioned in passing throughout this whole conversation, but be the content. Be the content. People respond to the feeling of what your product or service offers them. And again, that feeling is tied to what we talked about first, their vowels, right? So you're going to attract the right clientele. You're going to attract your target audience, right? Sometimes you just want to feel like, oh, I got to focus on my product or my service. And, I can't really show people my family life. I can't really show people my fitness life or my routine or anything like that. I guarantee you start doing some of that. You start showing people what your morning routine is. You don't even gotta speak in the video. It could just be cut scenes of you running to the gym or going for a daily walk, and putting people um into this view of you doing what you say you're going to do. A big part of this is the behind the scenes stuff. Like that's huge. That builds rapport, that builds credibility, that builds authority, it builds trust, it builds all of these things that are almost intangible. Like you can't pay for that. You could try, but over time it's the reality of it is time is either going to reveal or expose expose you, and you want time to reveal you more than you want it to expose you. So be the content. This is probably the most valuable thing you can do as a business owner, a content creator. Show people who you are, that you're real, that that you mean what you say, that you actually do the thing. Like some of us, we all consume this content. I'm a music producer as well. I have years of experience in music production. Um and during in that space, you see these videos all the time. Like people will sit down and watch you make a beat, and honestly, that's probably the best calling card for that kind of genre, that kind of niche. Like if you if people have literally generated six-figure incomes just turning the camera on and pushing record and producing lo-fi beats on camera, like legitimizing them as a producer, as a music producer. They get offers for music creation and all of the bells and whistles that come with that world just because they were the content. I mean, just go on YouTube, you can see it anywhere. So social proof is one of the biggest and most powerful drivers of decision making in the market. And when your target audience sees you on your journey, they see you doing the thing and they see the results of your effort and work, it just causes them to trust you even more. And that's the name of the game. The name of the game and the name of the content game, like we're not just out here recording things just to record them. We have something to offer people and it's going to make their lives better. The content just shows that, whether it's educational, inspirational, entertaining, or promotional, it just shows the problem I can solve for you, the situation I can make better for you, the process or system that I can make easier for you. That's all the content does. And the best way to do that, especially as a small creator or somebody with who's just starting out, is to be the content. And even seasoned professionals, be the content. You see now, everybody watches Shark Tank at some point. Maybe you've seen some clips from it. Maybe you haven't watched it, but almost everyone I know has seen the show Shark Tank. And you probably know Kevin O'Leary. He's been on the news or whatever. Now this guy's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And you would say that he's kind of like set. But he's now even, I mean, I think he posts on YouTube every day. you know, he's being the content. He's exposing himself and his passions and things that he's excited about, attaching himself to his brand and being the content. And this is somebody that's already established. And you see this all the time. Be the content. Here's some strategies. Post behind the scenes. That's going to be big. Morning routine, workshop, workspace tour. Post behind the scenes, like show who you are. Share testimonials, case studies, client success stories, client interviews, like interview the people you've helped. That's huge as well. And create content that shows your expertise, like this. Create content that shows people that you know what you're talking about and that you're willing to help them. And when you do this, you're building credibility. You're building your brand with proof. And that no one can take away from you. And so here's some closing thoughts, some things that you should be thinking about, and some things hopefully you can write down. Um, Everything that we talked about today kind of is connected to each other. Not kind of. They're interconnected, right? We're building a cake or we're building a pyramid. The first layer is understanding your audience. This ensures that your content resonates. Next is using content pillars. This helps you stay consistent and it gives you structure. Next is using trends and staying in the trend. That keeps you in the conversation, that keeps you relevant. The next thing is to use AI and tools. That's going to make your life easier. That's going to help you scale and make your life easier. Next is to create an idea bank. Again, further making it easier for you to create content and think through that. And finally, being the content. This builds trust and authority. I want to connect to you. I want you to know I'm real. I don't want to try to be somebody I'm not. So by understanding your audience and being real and creating this type of content, you have an opportunity to leverage their pain points and show them that you can solve a problem for them when you do it in this manner, when you incorporate these layers, you not only never run out of ideas, but you build loyalty. You build an engaging community that trusts your expertise, and you're able to grow your brand. So I hope you found some value in today's conversation. And I'm looking forward to creating more and more content like this for you. And I hope you have an excellent day, night, morning, whenever you're listening to this. And I hope you create something amazing. Until next time, grace and peace.